Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market, where I take a look at the luxury market, the Manhattan market, and the Brooklyn market. I do it because I want you to be informed. It never hurts when you're a consumer to be informed. Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. Today is June 17th. I'm going to be traveling next week, and I did not want to miss a week in terms of my reporting to you, but all the data from this past week is not yet in. So I'm not going to be giving you my usual state of the market report for New York City. Instead, I'm going to give you kind of an overview about what has been happening this week and what we are seeing about where the market could be going, where it has been going, where it looks like it's headed. Before I get into that, I just want to remind people that if you are curious about this kind of thing, if you find this kind of information helpful, this up-to-the-minute latest news about the New York City real estate market, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I am always posting updates on the very latest about what's going on here. And as with most places in the country, New York being no exception, there is a lot going on. We are definitely a market in transition. Okay, so let's just talk about this. Usually I talk to you about luxury, Manhattan, and Brooklyn as separate sectors of the market. But this week I want to talk about something a little broader than that. I want to talk about the impact that we are seeing on the climate of rising interest rates. This week's Fed announcement about the rise in interest rates, as well as this climate of inflation that we have entered. And let's not forget the volatility of the stock market. So we are continuing to see properties come on the market. It is at a slightly slowed down rate. That is not completely surprising. A lot of schools got out this week. People, for the first time in a couple of years, have had the opportunity to plan a trip and to go away, and they are indeed going away. So perhaps this will be a slower summer for us in terms of buyer activity. Sellers, do not despair. As I always say, it is always in the pricing. So whatever kind of market we are in, you will always have a buyer in New York City. We just have a much bigger audience. We are fortunate in that way. So if you want to put your property on the market, whatever your price point, do it. Do not wait. We do not really know where we're headed. I wish I had a crystal ball. I don't. But it's very important. If you need to sell, do not wait until perhaps the stars are more in alignment. Just get your property on the market and be sure that you price it as strategically and as properly as you can. What do I mean by that? We know where the market has been. Our closings take about 3 months, which means we don't really get the benefit of knowing exactly where we are right now. We won't have that information until about 3 months from now. So by then, of course, it's already in our rearview mirror. But what I can say is the higher end of the market, let's say 2 million and above, those properties are going to be probably looking like less impacted by the rising interest rates than the more sensitive below 2 million audience. If you are pricing for, let's say, 2 million and above, take a look at where the prices have been, the most recent prices that are comparables to your property that you can get your hands on, and adjust those prices by about 2 or 3%. Again, hopefully you're using a real estate agent. In New York City, you really need one. And frankly, a really top-notch real estate agent will add value to your process, and they will earn their commission. So let's talk about the million and under properties. Let's talk about, 2 million is fine. I really am trying to address the 1-bedroom and studio audience. Those buyers are going to be even more impacted by the rising interest rates than people who, let's say, are going to spend more money on real estate, over $2 million. So the under $2 million is more price sensitive as a result of this change, this rise in interest rates. A good way to think about it is for every percentage point that the mortgage rates go up, buyers have 11% less buying power. So if you think about where we were with our interest rates and where our interest rates are now, that gives you a pretty good idea of how the buyers are being impacted by this shift in interest rates. Again, not trying to scare you. I really feel that we are already seeing signs of buyer pullback. We are seeing buyers adjusting to this new landscape. And if you're a seller and you want to be successful, it's in your best interest to adjust to this new landscape as well. So here's some questions you could ask yourself if you're thinking about selling. When do I want to sell? Do I want to sell in the next 6 months to a year? If so, what am I waiting for? Is it going to get better? I don't think there's any reason to think that things are only, I think if anything, things could get a little, let's call them relatively worse. Interest rates could continue to go up. We could continue to be hard hit by inflation. We could continue to see other kinds of volatility that with the stock market. So if you're thinking about selling, you're a serious seller, you need to move on with your life. Don't wait. Get your property on the market now. Here's the other question you can ask yourself if you're a seller. All right, well, if I don't sell, what's my option? Am I okay holding this property for another 5 to 7 years while this market cycles back around and gets stabilized and we're kind of back to, let's say, relatively speaking, where we are now? That's up to you. If the answer to the question is, I do not want to be holding this property for the next, even 5 years, then again, you should do what you need to do to get your property on the market as soon as possible at a compelling price, one that positions you as best in class. Meaning, doesn't have to be the cheapest thing out there. It just needs to be the thing that looks like it's been priced well against your competition. Buyers, here's some things for you to think about in this market. Kind of the same as with sellers. Do you need to buy something? Do you need somewhere to live? Well, if you want to be in New York City and you want to live somewhere and you think you're going to be here for the next, again, 5 years, let's say, if you've taken a look at the rental market, you will see that the rental market is absolutely on fire. We are seeing the highest prices we have ever seen. Our median rent here is $4,000 a month. That is the median rent. That is the highest it's ever been historically. So renting right now is no bargain. Also, the tenants in New York City have to pay the brokerage fee. It can be anywhere from 8% to 15% of the first year's rent. Plus, you have to furnish it. You have to put up some window treatments because you can't have, your windows uncovered. It's expensive to move, and it is expensive to rent. So perhaps you want to think about if you have a longer runway of, let's say, you're going to be in New York, like I say, 5 years, 7 years, more, whatever. You really might want to think about taking advantage of buying in this market because this is a very good market for buyers, and I believe it will continue to be a very good market for buyers. One caution, I wouldn't dawdle too long because with this climate of rising interest rates, if you are intending to borrow money, don't forget that every percentage point goes up gives you 11% less buying power. Those are just my thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I could keep talking, but I'm not going to. Anyway, I am happy to answer any questions that you have about what is happening in the market. I study this market. I pay very close attention to the contracts that are being signed, the prices that are being adjusted, how much inventory we have on the market, where we are in history in terms of how we compare this year this year at this moment in time to last year and the year before and the year before that. So use me as a resource. I would be happy to help you. Call me if you have any questions, post your comments below, reach out to me, text me. I'm happy to talk to you. Okay, woo! All right, that's it for this rather unusual State of the Market report. I will be back in a week with the usual reporting on the luxury Manhattan and Brooklyn markets, bringing you the very latest news on what is going on in New York City. In the meantime, reach out to me with questions, and as always, take care.